The phone rang at exactly 11:47 on a rainy Tuesday night. I almost ignored it. The name glowing on my screen made my heart pause. Emma. My best friend. The woman who was supposed to marry someone else in exactly 4 weeks. I smiled before answering, expecting another one of her late-night wedding panics. Please tell me your florist didn't quit again, I laughed. Silence. Not the comfortable silence we had shared for 15 years. This one felt heavy. Like someone standing on the edge of a cliff. Then I heard it. A shaky breath. Daniel. Her voice cracked so softly that I immediately sat upright. Emma? What's wrong? Another silence. When she finally spoke, every word seemed to hurt. I don't think I can keep pretending anymore. Rain tapped against my apartment window while my heartbeat grew louder than the storm outside. What happened? I've been lying. My stomach tightened. About what? She let out a trembling laugh that sounded more like someone trying not to cry. About everything. People always believed Emma and I would end up together. Our parents joked about it when we were kids. Teachers teased us in school. Friends placed bets in college. Even strangers assumed we were dating whenever we went out for coffee. But we never crossed that line. She dated other people. I dated other people. Life kept pushing us toward different paths while somehow keeping us side by side. She became the first person I called after getting promoted. She sat beside my hospital bed after my motorcycle accident. When my father died, she didn't leave my house for 3 days. She cooked. She cleaned. She sat next to me while I stared at old family photos without saying a single unnecessary word. She simply stayed. When she met Ryan 3 years ago, I genuinely wanted her to be happy. Ryan was successful. Confident. Funny. He adored her. Everyone could see it. When he proposed during a family vacation, Emma called me before telling anyone else. I said yes. I still remembered forcing the biggest smile into my voice. I'm so happy for you. And I meant it. Or at least I thought I did. That night, after hanging up, I sat alone in my apartment staring at my phone until sunrise. Something inside me hurt. I convinced myself it was simply the realization that childhood was finally over. Best friends grow up. People marry. Life changes. That was normal. Right? Daniel? Emma's voice pulled me back to the present. I'm here. I've tried to make myself love him the way he deserves. What do you mean? I care about Ryan. Her words came slowly. I really do. But. She started crying. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Just the quiet kind of crying that sounds like someone breaking apart piece by piece. I've loved someone else for years. The room suddenly felt too small. I couldn't breathe. I didn't ask who. Maybe because somewhere deep inside, I already knew. I kept waiting for the feeling to disappear, she whispered. I thought if I ignored it long enough, it would die. It never did. The rain outside grew heavier. Cars splashed through puddles below my apartment building. Life continued. Mine had completely stopped. Emma. I love you. Everything inside me froze. I've always loved you. The words echoed through my mind over and over again. 15 years. Every birthday. Every road trip. Every holiday dinner. Every movie night. Every hug. Every goodbye. Suddenly they all looked different. I know I'm a terrible person. No. I am. She wiped away tears I could almost hear. I'm 4 weeks away from marrying a good man. I should never have called you. I should never have said anything. But every time I imagined walking down that aisle. She couldn't finish. Instead she sobbed. The kind that makes speaking impossible. I leaned forward, pressing my forehead against my knees. Because the truth I'd buried for years finally clawed its way out. I loved her too. Maybe I always had. Maybe I had simply mistaken it for friendship because losing her seemed less terrifying than admitting the truth. How many chances had I ignored? How many moments had I laughed away? How many times had she waited for me to say something first? I don't expect anything, Emma whispered. I just couldn't promise forever to someone else while taking this secret to my grave. My voice barely existed. Does Ryan know? No. Does anyone? No. You are the first person I've ever told. I closed my eyes. If I told her I loved her too, everything would change. A wedding might be destroyed. Families would be shattered. Friendships would end. Ryan's heart would be broken. But if I stayed silent, would I lose Emma forever? Neither choice felt like the right one. Neither felt survivable. Outside, lightning split the sky. Inside, my entire future stood balanced on 3 words I had never dared to say. And before I could answer, Emma whispered something that made my blood run cold. Daniel. I already mailed the wedding invitations today. 4 weeks. That was all the time left before Emma would stand in a white dress, smile through tears no one understood, and promise forever to a man she no longer knew how to love. And now I carried a secret that could destroy 3 lives. I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Emma standing at the end of a church aisle, searching the crowd. I saw Ryan waiting for her with hope shining in his eyes. Then I saw myself, frozen in the last row, wondering whether silence was courage or cowardice. By sunrise, I still hadn't answered the 3 words she had given me. I love you. They echoed through every corner of my apartment like ghosts refusing to leave. The next morning, my phone buzzed. Emma. Not a call. Just one message. I'm sorry. Forget everything I said last night. I'll never bring it up again. I stared at the screen until another message appeared. Please don't hate me. I smiled sadly. How could I hate the person who had been my home long before I ever owned a house? I called her immediately. She answered after the first ring. Daniel. You haven't slept either. She laughed softly. You can tell? I've known you for 15 years. I look awful. You always say that when you've been crying. Silence settled between us again, but this time it wasn't uncomfortable. It was familiar. Like sitting beside each other on the roof of her parents' house when we were teenagers, watching stars instead of talking. Finally I said the words I should have spoken years ago. I never stopped loving you either. She gasped. I heard something fall to the floor. Emma? I'm here. She was crying again. Not because she was heartbroken. Because she wasn't. I thought. She whispered, I thought I imagined everything. So did I. I kept waiting for you. I kept waiting for the right moment. She laughed through her tears. We're both idiots. The biggest. For a brief moment, we both laughed harder than we had in years. It felt almost cruel. How could the happiest conversation of our lives happen at the worst possible time? That afternoon we met at our favorite little cafe by the river. The owner smiled the moment he saw us. My favorite troublemakers. He placed 2 hot chocolates on the table without asking. The usual. Emma smiled politely. As soon as he walked away, the smile disappeared. She looked exhausted. There were dark circles beneath her eyes. Her engagement ring caught the afternoon sunlight. Neither of us could stop looking at it. I never wanted this to happen, she said quietly. I know. I really believed marrying Ryan was the right thing. What changed? She stared out the window. I realized loving someone who loves you isn't the same as loving the person you're with. I looked down at my cup. I spent years trying to convince myself that friendship was enough. She reached across the table. Our fingers touched. Just barely. It felt like the first time we'd ever held hands. I would have waited forever if there had been hope. I swallowed hard. There was always hope. You never said anything. Neither did you. She smiled. I was scared. So was I. For another long moment, neither of us spoke. Finally, she asked the question neither of us wanted to face. What do we do now? I didn't have an answer. Because every answer hurt someone. 3 days later, Ryan called me. Hey, brother. His cheerful voice made guilt twist inside my chest. You free tonight? Sure. I need help picking a wedding gift for Emma. Every word felt heavier than the last. Of course. We met at a jewelry store downtown. Ryan walked from display to display like an excited kid. I want something she'll keep forever. He finally pointed at a delicate silver bracelet with tiny blue stones. She'll love this. He smiled so proudly. You know what she told me last week? What? She said she's the luckiest woman alive. The words hit me like a punch. I forced a smile. That's wonderful. Ryan laughed. You know, I've always been jealous of you. I looked up. What? You two have such an amazing friendship. He shook his head with a grin. I used to wonder if she'd choose you instead. The air left my lungs. But then I realized something. What? If she loved you, she would have told you years ago. I couldn't speak. Ryan clapped my shoulder. Guess I worried for nothing. I nodded. Unable to tell him that everything he believed had already fallen apart. That evening Emma came to my apartment. The moment I opened the door, she wrapped her arms around me. Not romantically. Not desperately. Just tightly. As though she'd been carrying the weight of the world alone for too long. I talked to my mom today, she whispered. What did she say? She cried because she's so excited about the wedding. And your dad? He's already writing his speech. She stepped back. My little niece has practiced throwing flower petals every single day. Each sentence felt like another chain locking us into an impossible situation. So many people are happy. I nodded slowly. Except the bride. She covered her face. I feel horrible. I gently lowered her hands. You're not horrible. I am. No. I've wasted Ryan's time. You didn't mean to. I've lied to everyone. You lied to yourself first. Fresh tears rolled down her cheeks. I don't want to hurt him. I know. But marrying him would hurt him even more. She closed her eyes. I wish someone would make this decision for me. I can't. I know. We stood there for what felt like forever. Then she looked straight into my eyes. If I walk away from this wedding. My heart pounded. Will you still be standing here? I didn't hesitate this time. I'll still be here when we're 80. She smiled through tears. For the first time in weeks, hope flickered across her face. But fate wasn't finished with us yet. At that exact moment, someone knocked on my apartment door. 3 slow knocks. I opened it. Ryan stood there. He wasn't smiling. His eyes were red. In one hand, he held the silver bracelet he had bought for Emma. In the other, he held the engagement ring she had forgotten to wear. His voice was almost a whisper. I think, both of you owe me the truth. One forgotten ring. That was all it took. Not a hidden message. Not a secret photograph. Not a dramatic confession. Just the engagement ring Emma had slipped into her purse before coming to my apartment, and accidentally left on my kitchen counter. Ryan had driven to her apartment to surprise her with dinner. She wasn't there. He called. No answer. Then he remembered she had once joked that if she ever disappeared, she'd probably be at my place because Daniel always has coffee and terrible movies. He laughed when he said it. Now, standing in my doorway, there wasn't a trace of laughter left. The silence between the three of us felt louder than any scream. Emma slowly stepped forward. Ryan. He didn't look at her. He looked at me. His eyes searched my face, almost begging me to deny what he already feared. Tell me I'm wrong. I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. That was answer enough. Ryan closed his eyes. His shoulders sank as though years had been added to them in a single second. When? His voice barely rose above a whisper. How long? Emma's hands trembled. It wasn't an affair. He laughed once. A broken, empty laugh. I didn't ask if it was. Tears filled her eyes. I've never betrayed you. No? He finally looked at her. Then why does it feel like my whole world just collapsed? She couldn't answer. Because there wasn't one. No explanation could soften a heart that had just shattered. Ryan stepped inside and quietly closed the door behind him. I deserve the truth. Emma nodded. You do. She took a slow breath. I tried to love you the way you loved me. Ryan looked confused. Tried? I cared about you. Cared? I respected you. He smiled sadly. But you didn't love me. Her tears answered before her words did. I thought I could. You thought love would grow. She nodded. I wanted it to. Ryan looked down at the bracelet in his hand. I spent 3 months designing this. He opened the small velvet box. Tiny blue stones sparkled under the kitchen light. They're your birthstones. Emma covered her mouth. I even had today's date engraved inside. She couldn't stop crying. I know. I wanted you to wear it every anniversary. He laughed again, and this time it sounded like it hurt to breathe. I guess anniversaries aren't happening anymore. The room became painfully quiet. After a long moment, Ryan turned toward me. I hated you once. I blinked. What? The day I met you. Emma looked surprised. I could see the way she looked at you. He smiled faintly. But then I watched you encourage our relationship. He shook his head. You helped me choose the engagement ring. You planned my proposal. You stood beside me when I asked her father for permission. His eyes filled with tears. I believed a man couldn't possibly do all that if he loved the same woman. Neither Emma nor I could look at him. Because he was right. I had convinced myself that loving her meant letting her go. Instead, I had only delayed everyone's heartbreak. Ryan sighed deeply. You know what hurts the most? Emma whispered, what? You never trusted me enough to tell me. Fresh tears rolled down her cheeks. I was afraid. I know. I didn't want to destroy your happiness. Ryan smiled sadly. It wasn't happiness. She looked confused. He took a slow breath. For the past 6 months. He paused. I knew something was missing. Emma stared at him. I kept asking myself why you smiled less. Why your eyes looked empty. Why every wedding plan felt like another chore instead of a dream. He rubbed his face. I blamed work. I blamed stress. I blamed myself. His voice cracked. I never imagined you were fighting your own heart. Emma stepped closer. I'm so sorry. I know. I truly am. I know. She reached for his hand. He let her hold it for only a second before gently pulling away. I'll always care about you, Emma. I know. But I deserve someone who doesn't have to convince herself to love me. Those words broke something inside all of us. Because they were true. Love wasn't supposed to be negotiated. It wasn't supposed to be forced. It either lived, or it didn't. Ryan placed the bracelet back into the velvet box. Then he looked at me. Promise me something. I will. If you're lucky enough to love someone who loves you back. His eyes watered. Don't ever waste 15 years again. I couldn't stop the tears anymore. I won't. He nodded. I believe you. Then he walked to the door. Before leaving, he turned around one last time. I hope one day this doesn't hurt. No one answered. There wasn't anything left to say. The door closed softly behind him. The sound echoed through the apartment. Emma sank onto the floor. I knelt beside her. For several minutes, neither of us spoke. We simply cried. Not because we had won, but because someone good had lost. The wedding was officially cancelled the next morning. Families were shocked. Friends asked endless questions. Rumors spread faster than the truth. Some people blamed Emma. Some blamed me. Others blamed fate. Very few people understood what had really happened. Months passed. Life slowly began to heal. Ryan moved to another city to accept a new job. Before he left, he sent me one final message. Don't spend another day wondering if she's the one. Life is too short for silence. I never replied. I didn't need to. He already knew. A year later, on a warm autumn evening, I took Emma back to the little hill where we had watched meteor showers as teenagers. The same hill. The same sky. The same two people. Only this time, there were no secrets between us. She smiled as the wind played with her hair. Do you remember what we wished for here when we were 16? I laughed. I wished I'd never lose my best friend. And I wished you'd finally notice I was in love with you. We both laughed until tears rolled down our faces. So we were hopeless from the beginning? The absolute worst. I reached into my pocket. She looked at the small box and immediately covered her face. No. Yes. You planned this? For 15 years. She laughed through tears. You really took your time. I know. I opened the box. Inside was a simple ring. Nothing extravagant. Nothing flashy. Just something beautiful. Just like the life I hoped we would build together. Emma. Before I could finish, she wrapped her arms around me. You finally found the right moment. I almost missed it forever. She pulled back just enough to look into my eyes. You didn't.